Welcome to my kitchen here at Wild Heaven Farms. What I'm doing today is I'm making hot sauce. So I'm just measuring out my vinegar that goes in my pot. See if I can get it in there. And I think I want to do 10 cups and see what we end up with. Okay. I've got my peppers floating. So that is them submerged in water. And I've used this plate to keep them under the water. And here's, woo, they're strong already. So here's the peppers. Let's get our gloves on and get to it. So the main ingredient in the hot sauce is, of course, peppers. I'm just going to sit a handful out. This will be my compost bin. And all you have to do is chop off the top of your pepper. Now, if you can line up several peppers in a row, you can save yourself some time here. These aged cayenne peppers is what the recipe calls for on the Frank's Copycat. They're a little harder to cut because they're kind of soft. So after you get them all the tops cut off, you put them in the vinegar that you saw me pour on the stove. Oops, I'm putting them in the wrong piles. So this will go in the compost. These will go in straight into the vinegar. And so we're just gonna finish that with all of them, and then we'll move on to the next step. If anybody in your family eats Frank's, you should make this because it's so simple. It's simply the vinegar, the peppers, and garlic. And salt if you like it, but we never add the salt. We're kind of a low sodium family. Well, that one chopped nice. The fresher peppers definitely chop better, but the recipe calls for them to be aged. So I try to let them sit for 2 weeks, which is about the length of time these have been sitting. Some of them were green when I picked them, but they've turned red, and that's why they're fresher. So these will go in. If you don't wear the gloves, you're gonna have burning later, promise you. Even if you think you're not touching it, you are. It's the oil. It gets on everything. So just wear gloves. If you're in a pinch and you're just making a little tiny bit of hot sauce, you can rub your hands with olive oil. So I'm near the end, and you can see that I've come up with a much better system. Normally, by the time you get to the end of a project, you're really good at it after struggling the whole way. But having the tops go off to the right makes sense because then you can just keep flowing right through. You can also see I've turned the heat on back here because I'm almost done. So it can start boiling even before I get my garlic peeled. So that's the next step. We'll get these in and come back for the garlic. Okay, so they're all in the pan. Put these in there. Now let's do our garlic. Something you may not know about garlic, I'll give you a little tip. If it has little roots on the bottom, it was grown in the United States. If this has been spooned out, which I guess they use a spoon to pop it out, and it would appear hollow in the bottom, it's come from another country because they don't allow roots to come in because of soil-borne diseases. But what we're going to do here is we're just going to break up a whole head of garlic, possibly 2. We're going to go ahead and get them peeled. Smashed and peeled. And into the pot. just like that. Let's see if I can get some of the peels off there this way. Whoop. Don't want to drop them. They add such flavor. It smells so good. You just want to make sure you get the papery part off. Looks like it's already come to a boil. That's the last of the garlic. So we're just going to give it a stir. And we're going to turn down the heat. We're just going to cover it up and let it simmer. Before you take your gloves off, clean everything. Everything that you touched and used, clean it and then take your gloves off. So it's been 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off while it's been about an hour. This has completely stopped boiling, cool enough for me to touch the pan. And so now we're going to use the immersion blender and we're gonna put it together and plug it in. And I'll bring you over here to watch. So you have to be careful when you do this not to let it splash up in your face because it is like pepper spray. So I always turn my head away when I first get started. Okay, once that's done, try not to breathe over it. Once that's all done and you no longer see any chunks as it's going, you can't stand over it. Okay, I slid you back a little bit so that I can show you how I'm going to strain it and get the seeds and whatever big chunks of skin don't go through this fine mesh strainer. And so don't feel bad if you have to walk away. Just sit your pan back down on the burner and walk away if you need to cough or breathe or whatever. I can't imagine doing this with any hotter a pepper without a mask. So I'm going to hold my breath. Rinse, a quick rinse of my pan. We'll get this all moved through. I've dehydrated this in the past for a pepper paste or something to add some zing into soups, stews, and chili. Okay, I'm really going to mash it down now to get all the last bits out. And once no more liquid comes, let's see what it looks like under there. And this is what we're left with, our hot sauce. So you can stop right here and have hot sauce. Once it gets a little cooler, you can put it in a mason jar, put a lid on it, keep it in the refrigerator. It's as simple as that. It'll keep forever, and you will go through this, trust me. But if you want to see how to can it to keep it shelf stable, if you've made a double, triple, or quadruple batch like me, subscribe to my channel, and the next video will be how to can the hot sauce. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this hot sauce.